Hey folks, welcome to the first video where I will be showing you a little bit of my process to arrange and orchestrate Cycles of Pain from Angra. I will start with the song Here and Now. The particular reason is because this was the easiest arrangement in the entire album. This was like pretty straightforward, just some pads, just filling in the gaps. There was nothing complex. I just did this in a couple of hours, honestly. The music already worked on its own. All of the music already worked on its own for this album, of course. But I'm saying this in a sense that I didn't need to, reinvent the wheel here. It was basically a song that was just like, okay, some pads here and there, some experimentation with some synthesizers or electronic sounds here, and that's it. So what I will be doing is basically sharing my screen with you. You will see my Cubase project, and I will be going through part by part, and you see it's a very simple arrangement, but I think it's a great kickoff because from this episode to the next ones, I will be going by complexity in terms of like music that drove me crazy, and I had a few of these songs here that drove me crazy in terms of complexity. For the sanctuary. So let me just share my screen with you. The first section of the music, when I heard the band playing, my idea was basically to have this, add this kind of like YouTube vibe with some eerie and interesting pads. So basically we have, the band playing. I'm gonna mute Raphael's voice. Oh my god, just again, the Felipe's bass here, it's phenomenal. So the music had this very YouTube vibe, I think maybe because of Bruno's drums idea. So my focus here was basically have two very distinct groups of pads. So what I did here, let me just solo this section. So we have these. It basically opens the song, right? So we basically have this triad of B minor and basically G major. Super simple. And then for the second part, I've added this, for the second group of, instruments. So very cool, right? It's very, there's a lot of layers happening here. And we have this, right, coming from Cube, which I love. And I think it just brought even more this feeling of this YouTube vibe. And I think it complemented quite well Marcelo's, I think it's Marcelo's clean guitar on the beginning. The next part of the song, we have this. Right, just basically doubling the guitars. So, like when I started working on the project, I told Felipe, Actually, I asked Philippe, shall I, rescue ideas from the past of the band, or shall I think a little bit more forward? And the idea was basically bring both. So bring up a little bit from the past. You'll see in the next videos what I'm talking about, but also think about the future, like the new sound that we have. And the band actually is going on that direction. It's like it has this more modern sound, which I personally love. Another thing that is very important to say is that I like to create different sections. This group of instruments, this idea, this is the introduction, this is the verse, this is the chorus. So we have this feeling that the song is progressing, which it is on its own. The song progresses, different sections, part A, part B. So I want my arrangement to do the same. I want the audience to be like, oh, okay, I am in this new part right now. So I could do like strings the whole time, but then that's boring, right? I could do just orchestra. I love orchestra. It's the music that I compose the most, but I think that's like boring here. So there were synthesizers, there are textures, there are like percussions. You hear more as we move forward on this song. But basically the idea was to, distinguish part A from part B and so on and on and on. Here, I'm gonna mute the band and we have the next section.
Counting every beat of your heart, trying to feed into this world.
Just very magical, right? You have kind of like these ethereal voices, whispers. It sounds like mermaids in the background. So you have this very lush bed. Just feeling the mixes. Nothing here is forward. The band is definitely always forward, but it's just like feeling the gaps. Then we have the next section, which is very simple. We have the strings here. And another thing before I play the strings again, it's important to say that, if I was working on this piece on its own, like, okay, these is the strings that will be featured in the music, I would program the strings much better. But, the strings will be very low in the mix. It's not gonna be up like super in the face. There is no reason why to program the strings amazingly well. Neither follow the natural convention in terms of orchestration, counterpoints. So basically here we just have a doubling on the melody of the music and nothing else. Actually, I think it's a counter melody. I think Felipe came up with this melody. I just follow and kind of fill it in. And here I basically complement. That's basically when we open the voices for the strings, right? So then we go back to that part. Working with efficiency here. There is no reason to reinvent the wheel. So basically, chop chop. Let's reuse it. Maybe add something different in further on. But here, it's pretty much like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Here we have a very interesting part. Let me just play the band. When I heard that, this kind of like tribal moment, and the rhythms are so cool, the bass is so awesome, everything that Angra added later, in comparison to this version that I have as well. I love this part. It's just beautiful. basically what I did here was, okay, I'm gonna put something crazy just to complement and you know, bring a very different vibe. So this is what I did. Very cool, right? This kind of like crazy words coexisting. You have like these heavy synthesizers, some very keyboardish strings. I do have my library that I created myself called the Amazonic. Which is this one here. You know, it's basically 100+ instruments from the Amazon that I recorded with my friends from the Amazon, all played by native people from, you know, from the Amazon itself. And by the way, this library is on sale right now. So if you go to soundsoftheearth.com, you can buy this library. All right. So let me just move this away. And it's a very cool sound. I'm very proud of this library. Later on, I've added some strings, basically doing some like gentle ostinato here, just to complement, like when the band comes back, just to ignite a little bit. You know, like there is no counter movements here. It's just basically filling up the gaps, just following the guitars. The guitar solo that is playing here goes everywhere. So I don't want to risk any clash by adding a ninth or, you know, an 11th note on this chord. I don't want to do this. I want to be away, be far from the guitar solo and you know, just let the guitar solo do its own thing. That's why it's basically complementing what the guitar is doing.
Open your heart, be the change that you want for this world.
Again, beautiful song. Last part that we have here, that would be this one here. So, oops, let me just mute. Just complement to the strings, and then the music ends. Very cool, right? Just goes super well with the band. Oh, sorry, the loop started. play them at the correct level, you just see that they just match super well, right? It's interesting when you hear it on a different level, you just like realize like, oh, this is an interesting choice. But when we play them together, it just makes sense. Just listen again. That's it. Very cool, right? So yeah, guys, this was the first track that I wanted to, basically play for you, and I hope you enjoy. And we'll be going through almost all of the tracks except for two in the album. But yeah, see you in the next video. Cheers.